You don't need a new life. You need a new direction. Good morning. Before you begin chasing another goal, before you convince yourself that everything has to change, I want to ask you a simple question. What if your life isn't asking you to start over? What if it's only asking you to change direction? Many of us wake up believing that happiness exists somewhere else, in another city, another career, another relationship, another version of ourselves. We quietly tell ourselves, if only I could begin again. It sounds hopeful, but sometimes it becomes a way of overlooking the life that is already waiting to grow right where we stand. Imagine you're sailing across a wide open sea. The wind is strong. The waves are steady. For hours, it feels as though you're making progress. But then someone points to the horizon and says, you're heading 1 degree off course. Just 1 degree. It doesn't seem like much. You could easily ignore it. After all, the ocean still looks the same. The wind still feels the same. Your hands still grip the wheel exactly as before. Yet over time, that tiny difference becomes enormous. A single degree today could mean arriving on an entirely different shore months from now. Life often works that way. We tend to overestimate dramatic change and underestimate gentle direction. We think transformation requires quitting everything, starting over, burning bridges, reinventing ourselves overnight. But real transformation is usually much quieter. It begins with a different conversation, a healthier morning, a kinder thought, a better question. A single decision repeated often enough can foster hope and slowly shape who you are, encouraging patience and trust in growth. Have you ever noticed how rivers shape mountains? Not through force, not through speed, but through consistency, drop after drop, day after day, year after year. Eventually, even solid rock begins to yield through tiny, persistent erosion, showing that small, steady efforts can lead to profound transformation over time. There is wisdom in that. Because we live in a world that celebrates dramatic moments, the overnight success, the viral story, the sudden breakthrough, yet the strongest lives are almost always built in ways no one applauds. Quiet mornings, small improvements, invisible choices, patient persistence. These things rarely make headlines, but they make remarkable lives. Perhaps you've been feeling stuck lately, not because you've stopped moving, but because you've been moving in a direction that no longer feels like your own. There is a difference between being busy and moving with purpose. One fills your calendar, the other fills your soul. It's possible to spend years climbing a ladder, only to discover it was leaning against the wrong wall. That realization can feel frightening. Yet understanding that small, consistent steps are enough to create meaningful change can transform fear into hope and curiosity about what's possible. Because realizing you're on the wrong path isn't a waste. It's a sign of wisdom guiding you toward better choices, fostering hope and confidence. It simply means you've gained the wisdom to choose differently. And wisdom has a beautiful way of arriving quietly. It doesn't usually appear in moments of excitement. It comes during peaceful walks, morning coffee, long drives, conversations that linger in your heart, or perhaps moments exactly like this one. So before you rush into another busy day, pause for just a moment. Instead of asking, how can I completely change my life? Try asking something gentler. What direction am I walking today? Because your future is shaped less by giant leaps and more by steady, purposeful steps, helping the audience feel reassured about gradual progress. Remember, asking yourself, What small, purposeful adjustment can I make today? Helps you identify specific actions that align with your growth and makes the process feel more manageable. Sometimes, the most life-changing decision you'll ever make isn't to begin a brand new journey. It's to turn the wheel gently, just enough, to discover a completely different horizon. There is a beautiful truth that many people discover far later than they wish. Your direction matters far more than your speed, helping the audience feel reassured that steady progress is valuable. We live in a world that constantly urges us to move faster, work harder, achieve more, keep up. Some mornings it can feel as though everyone else has already figured life out while you're still searching for the map. But life has never been a race. Nature reminds us of that every single day. The sun never rushes to rise. The seasons never hurry to arrive. A seed never apologizes for taking time to become a tree. Everything meaningful grows at its own pace. Perhaps we would feel more at peace if we trusted that growth is a gentle, ongoing process. Embracing patience and recognizing that small, steady steps are enough can help you build confidence in your journey. Imagine standing in the middle of a vast forest. There are dozens of paths stretching in every direction. One path is crowded. Everyone seems to be walking that way. It looks impressive, busy, successful. So naturally, you wonder if that's where you should go. But deep inside, something feels unsettled. Not because the path is wrong, but because it isn't aligned with your true purpose. But because it isn't yours. One of the hardest lessons in life is learning that popularity is not the same as purpose. The road that fulfills someone else may quietly empty your own heart. And that's perfectly okay. You weren't created to become a copy of another person. You were created to become more fully yourself. That is why comparison can be so exhausting. It convinces us that we're behind, when in reality we're simply walking toward different destinations. Imagine comparing a sunrise to a blooming flower. Which one is better? The question doesn't even make sense. Each has its own beauty. Each unfolds in its own time. Neither competes with the other. Perhaps human lives were never meant to compete either. Maybe they were meant to bloom. One of the quiet dangers of doubt is that it often steals our attention from what truly matters. Instead of asking, "What kind of life feels meaningful to me?" we begin asking, "How do I look compared to everyone else?" Those two questions lead to very different lives. One builds peace. The other builds pressure. This morning, I'd like to offer you a different way of measuring progress. Don't ask whether you're ahead of someone else. Ask whether today's choices are leading you closer to the person you hope to become. That's a question worth answering. Because every small decision becomes a vote for your future. Every book you read, every conversation you choose to have, every habit you repeat, every moment you decide to act with kindness instead of bitterness. These choices may seem ordinary, but ordinary choices create extraordinary lives. The beautiful thing about direction is that it can change in a single moment. You don't have to wait for January. You don't have to wait until next Monday. You don't have to wait until everything feels perfect. You can gently change course today, right now. One decision, one conversation, one small act of courage. That is often all it takes to begin writing a completely different story. Because life rarely changes with one giant leap. It changes when one small step points your heart toward a better horizon. There is something remarkable about a compass. It doesn't move the mountain. It doesn't calm the storm. It doesn't shorten the journey. It simply points in the right direction. And somehow, that is enough. Perhaps what we need most in life isn't a miracle that changes everything overnight. Perhaps we need a clearer compass. When people feel lost, they often believe they need a completely different life. a new job, a new city, a new relationship, a new beginning. Sometimes those changes are necessary, but more often than we realize, what we're truly searching for isn't a different life. It's a different way of living the one we already have. Think of a gardener tending to a small tree. Every morning they water it. They remove weeds from around its roots. They trim a branch here and there. None of these actions seem dramatic. In fact, if you watched for a single day, you might think nothing was happening at all. Yet return a year later. The tree has grown stronger. Its branches reach farther. Its roots have settled deeper into the earth. Growth rarely announces itself while it is happening. It simply keeps unfolding one quiet day at a time. Your own life is much the same. You may not notice the difference after choosing patience instead of frustration just once, or after reading 10 pages instead of scrolling for 30 minutes, or after waking a little earlier to enjoy a few moments of silence before the world begins asking for your attention. But those moments are never wasted. They are shaping you, little by little, morning by morning. Direction is built through repetition, not perfection. There is a quiet freedom in realizing you don't have to become a completely different person. You don't have to erase your past. You don't have to pretend you've never made mistakes. Your experiences, even the painful ones, have given you something valuable: wisdom, compassion, perspective. The goal isn't to become someone else. The goal is to become more fully yourself. The version of you that has been waiting beneath the noise, beneath the expectations, beneath the endless pressure to prove your worth. Imagine carrying a lantern through the darkness. The light doesn't reveal the entire road. It only illuminates the next few steps. And somehow, those few steps are always enough. Life has never asked you to see the whole journey. It only asks you to trust the next step. That is why hope is so powerful. Hope doesn't promise that every road will be easy. It simply whispers, "Keep walking." There will be mornings when progress feels invisible, days when your efforts seem too small to matter, moments when you wonder whether changing direction has made any difference at all. When those moments come, remember the river. It never forces its way through the mountain. It simply continues flowing, patiently, steadily, without doubting the quiet power of persistence. Eventually, even stone gives way. Perhaps your challenges will too. So today, don't worry about changing your entire life before sunset. Instead, protect the direction of this one morning. Speak a little more kindly to yourself. Choose one meaningful task instead of 10 distracted ones. Give your attention to what truly deserves it. Take one step that your future self will quietly thank you for. Because when your direction is true, even the smallest steps become part of an extraordinary journey. As we come to the end of this morning together, I'd like to leave you with one simple image. Imagine standing on a quiet hillside just after sunrise. The air is cool. The world is still waking up. In the distance, you see two paths. One is wide and familiar. Many people are walking it. It feels safe because everyone else seems to agree that's where success can be found. The other path is quieter, less certain. There are fewer footprints. It doesn't promise an easy journey, but something about it feels true. Not louder, not easier, just true. Life offers us these moments more often than we realize. Not always as dramatic crossroads. More often, they appear in ordinary decisions. Will I spend this morning worrying about what I cannot control? Or investing my energy in what I can? Will I keep living according to fear? Or according to purpose? Will I continue following the expectations of others? Or begin listening to the quiet wisdom already growing within me? These questions may seem small, but they shape entire lives. Because every day is, in its own quiet way, a vote for the person you are becoming. The life you experience next year will not be built in a single extraordinary afternoon. It will be built in mornings like this, one sunrise at a time, one decision at a time, one gentle course correction after another. There is a reason sailors rarely panic when the wind changes. They understand something that applies to all of life. They cannot command the wind, but they can adjust the sails. That small adjustment changes everything. You cannot control every circumstance that enters your life. You cannot predict every challenge. You cannot prevent every disappointment. But every morning, you are given something no one can take from you: the freedom to choose your direction. That choice is quieter than you might expect. It happens when you decide to respond instead of react, to learn instead of complain, to encourage instead of criticize, to begin instead of postpone. Direction is not found in grand speeches. It is found in quiet habits, in faithful choices, in the kind of mornings that seem ordinary while you're living them, but become extraordinary when you look back years later. One day, you'll realize that your life didn't change because of one perfect opportunity. It changed because you stopped waiting for the perfect moment. You kept turning the wheel, 1 degree at a time. And eventually, the landscape around you became completely different. So as you step into this new day, don't place the weight of your entire future on your shoulders. You don't have to solve every problem before breakfast. You don't need to map out the next 10 years. You don't even need to know exactly where every road will lead. All you need is the courage to take today's step in the right direction. Trust that tomorrow will reveal the next. And the day after that, another, because this is how meaningful lives are built. Not through dramatic reinventions, but through quiet, intentional mornings. Before we say goodbye, I want you to remember one sentence. Whenever life feels confusing, whenever you wonder if it's too late, whenever you feel tempted to throw everything away and start over, come back to these words. You don't need a new life. You need a new direction. And sometimes, a single degree is all it takes to find an entirely new horizon. Thank you for sharing this peaceful morning with me. May today remind you that every sunrise is more than the beginning of another day. I am inviting you to choose your direction again. Keep your eyes on the horizon and let your heart guide the way toward the light.